Hello, and welcome to CDFA's walkthrough of how to complete the National Environmental Protection Act, or NEPA, questionnaire. First, some tips and tricks in order to successfully complete your questionnaire. Read every question carefully and completely. If you are uncertain on a response, mark unknown and describe your situation in the box on page 3. Refrain from qualitative statements or judgments. CDFA has received multiple questionnaires that include statements like, "This project will not have an environmental impact," or "This form is not needed as we are only purchasing a vehicle." This is not appropriate and these forms cannot be accepted. If you submit a questionnaire with qualitative statements, CDFA will ask you to revise and resubmit. Respectfully, CDFA, USDA, and our NEPA consultants will make these determinations, not the applicant. Finally, double-check your questionnaire to make sure it is complete and correct before submitting. The first box, Part 1, asks you to provide your organization name and application number. Provide your full entity name and, if known, your PIN. If you don't know your PIN, this can be found in the subject line of the emails you've received from your grant analyst. If you can't find your PIN, you may submit without it, provided your organization name is provided in full. The second box, Part 2, asks you to provide the complete physical address and GPS coordinates for the project facility. For a vehicle, the project facility is the location where the vehicle will typically be stored or parked. Be sure to provide the physical, not the mailing address. You can use a website such as www.gps-coordinates.net to find the GPS coordinates of the project facility. Enter the physical address, then hit Get GPS Coordinates and include them in box 2. Here we found the coordinates for CDFA headquarters, but use your physical address. Next, you'll move on to the 20 questions. For each question, select only one answer. If you are unsure, select Unknown and explain in the box on page 3. Read each question carefully and completely. Some refer to the facility where equipment will be located or vehicles stored, or to the project as a whole. Again, read each question carefully and completely. Continuing through the questions, please note that questions 7 and 8 require an explanation for a no answer. That is, if you mark no for question 7 and/or 8, you must provide a description in the box on page 3. Again, note where the question asks about the project or the facility. Finish answering all questions, providing descriptions in the box on page 3 for yes or unknown answers. The box on page 3 is where applicants must provide an explanation for any yes or unknown answers. Also, if you answered no for questions 7 and/or 8, an explanation is also required here. Again, please describe your situation only. Refrain from judgments. CDFA and USDA will determine the environmental impact, not applicants. Questionnaires that contain judgment statements will be returned to the applicant for revision and must be resubmitted by the deadline. Finally, read the statement. Then write the name and title of the preparer and the date. CDFA requests that all applicants double-check their questionnaire. Is every answer correct and accurate? Does every question have only one answer? That is, there are no double dots. Is every yes or unknown response described on page 3? If you marked no for questions 7 and/or 8, did you describe on page 3? And finally, are any judgments or qualitative statements included? If so, please remove them. That concludes our presentation on completing the NEPA questionnaire. Please email your forms to grants@cdfa.ca.gov. Please include your organization name and/or PIN in your email. Please feel free to submit any additional questions you have via email to grants@cdfa.ca.gov.